Hello and welcome to all my subscribers, and if you're not a subscriber, what's wrong with you? Today I want to explore polyglottery, or learning multiple languages, and is it worth it? So, in our increasingly interconnected world, the desire to become a polyglot and speak multiple languages is a very common aspiration, and the allure of communicating with people from different cultures and traveling with ease and gaining an understanding of the world is appealing, and as well as making tons of money on YouTube selling polyglot products to people. But it is important to acknowledge that the path to polyglottery, i.e. speaking multiple language, isn't without its challenges. And so in this video, we're going to delve into 8 significant reasons why aspiring polyglots should just carefully consider all of the drawbacks and the potential pitfalls of your linguistic journey into polyglottery. And the first is time and effort. I mean, learning a language is a time-consuming endeavor that demands a significant amount of effort. And to obtain proficiency in many languages, you must be prepared to invest a considerable amount of time juggling the study of numerous languages simultaneously, which can be exhausting and lead to burnout. And it's critical to be aware that becoming a polyglot requires a lot of dedication and a lot of patience. Now, the amount of time required to learn a second language to proficiency varies significantly based on, lots of factors. Your native language, the target language, your age, the intensity of the study, the amount that you're going to study, your prior experiences with language learning. So there isn't really one size fits all answer, but I can provide some general guidelines. And the first is basic proficiency, which is achieving a proficiency where you can have simple conversations and understand common phrases, can take 600 to 750 hours of study and practice. So this level is commonly referred to as A2 level on the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, or CEFR. Intermediate proficiency, which is a more substantial proficiency where you can hold complex conversations, understand a wider range of vocabulary, and read and write with a moderate level. And so you're going to need around 1,000 to 1,200 hours of study and practice. And typically this is around the B1, B2 level on the CEFR scale. Then advanced proficiency, to reach an advanced level of proficiency where you can communicate fluently, understand nuances, use the language for sort of professional or academic purposes. So this can take anywhere from 1,500 to 2,200 hours or more. Now this level can is C1, C2 on the CEFR. So you're looking at about 40 weeks or almost a year per language. Now, more bad news. Once you learn them, you have to maintain them. So maintenance, as learning a language, it just isn't a one-off task. You have to do ongoing practice and maintenance to keep it fresh in your mind. And without regular use, it's easy to forget what you've learned. And as a polyglot, you're going to have to associate and allocate time with each language to ensure that they are at a usable level. And neglecting a language can lead to its deterioration, which renders your hard work less effective, and then you even potentially have to restart. And then there's confusion. So when learning multiple languages, it's easy to confuse them. It's hard to keep them distinct in your mind. So the risk of linguistic confusion is always there. And you might find yourself inadvertently mixing words and phrases from different languages. And so this confusion hinders effective communication, and it requires a constant vigilance on your part to avoid it. So it's even worse if you're trying to learn multiple languages at the same time, and that's normally a bad idea anyway. So you also get diminished proficiency. So the more languages you learn, the harder it is to achieve a higher level of proficiency in each one. And instead of becoming truly fluent, you might end up with several languages at an intermediate level. So this can limit your ability to have deep and meaningful conversations, and it could impact your employability in some fields if you require language expertise. So rather than being great at 3 languages, you can be mediocre or just plain bad at lots of them. And we don't want that. Now, before we go on, I want to just say that I have a blog that you might be interested in at rdearman.org, and you can check this out. I do blog archives. I talk about languages on a budget or blogging, but I also just talk about, random stuff, basic food facts, sort of pre-computer calculation things. Or you might be interested in a series of podcasts that I do called the Autodidactic Podcast. And shortly, I'm going to be doing an autodidactic season, season 5, which is going to be geared toward language learning. So that should start probably in August next year. So keep an eye on the Autodidactic Podcast if you want to learn more. Okay, so back to language learning and polyglottery. So now there's opportunity cost as well. Learning multiple languages is a significant time commitment, and this time you could be used in other ways to learn, specialization in 1 or 2 languages to get a really high proficiency, or, certain fields, translation, interpretation, international relations, they may require more than just being a generalist in a language. But this time sink in languages means you have to abandon other interests, hobbies, or activities you might enjoy. So you could spend the time learning languages, or you could spend time learning something else, like math or physics or how to fix your car. So there's the opportunity cost, but there's also language learning plateaus. So learning each subsequent language can become progressively more challenging because as you accumulate languages, you encounter a plateau where progress just becomes slower, and then maintaining motivation is challenging. So it's essential that you're prepared for long periods of stagnation and to adapt your learning strategies to overcome them. And motivation really is the key. If you don't have any interest in learning a language other than just bragging rights, well, that may not provide enough motivation to keep you going through the long, dark, intermediate phase of learning a language. And language and culture are intricately linked. So deep cultural understanding often accompanies language learning. So learning too many languages might limit your ability to deeply understand and connect with any particular culture. You may scratch the surface of many cultures because you're doing lots of them, but you don't really truly immerse yourself in any one and get, really into it. And then there's limited uses. So depending on where you live and work, you may not have an opportunity to use all of the languages you've learned regularly. And if your linguistic skills aren't put to practice, then they can very quickly deteriorate. So the languages you've invested all this time in may go to waste if you've no way to utilize them in your daily life or your career or speaking to people at some point. So while the aspiration to become a polyglot is admirable, it's critical to think about it and approach it with a clear understanding of the potential challenges and all of the drawbacks. And balancing a pursuit of multiple languages with the reality of time and effort and diminishing returns is essential. So it's often more beneficial to focus on a few languages that align with your interest and your goals and ensure that you can accomplish a high level of proficiency and practical use in those languages. Now, ultimately, the decision to become a polyglot should be a thoughtful one and guided by your individual objectives and priorities. But in the world of language learning, quality often prevails over quantity. The ability to communicate effectively in a couple of languages along with a deep appreciation for the cultures that they represent, could be more enriching and probably more valuable than a surface level proficiency in a number of languages. The key is to strike up a balance that aligns with your personal and professional aspirations, ensuring that your linguistic journey is rewarding and sustainable. So, although many people want to be polyglots, be careful what you wish for. All right. Well, that's it for me today. I hope you like this sort of content. I know it's just me really ranting on a bit today, but please like and subscribe if you like this sort of thing. Share the videos around with your friends, and I will see you later.